Okay, tonight I am here with Ben Alvarez, Will Smith, and Will Smith.
Yes.
Not that Will Smith.
I make all claims on my name. I challenge the other guy who's a punk.
Okay, and Michael Pellish to answer the key geeky questions that have to be answered. The first one being, you must hire a photographer for your wedding. Do you hire Peter Parker or Jimmy Olson? Now, Jimmy will turn into a giant turtle and rampage through the thing. Peter will discover he has to leave the wedding before he takes the photos to stop Doc Ock, because then he won't get paid, and that's the way his luck runs.
No, see, that is your opinion, because, in my opinion, Peter Parker being your photographer means that either he's going to have to cut out on the job, or your job will be attacked by a supervillain.
Now, on the other hand, he could leave his auto camera there, and everybody would just wonder how he got all those pictures at the same weird angle.
And you'd miss a lot of the wedding that you wanted to get photographed.
Yeah.
Jimmy may transform, but it does not necessarily mean he will transform into something rampaging. Mm-hmm. And it usually means that something interesting but not deadly has happened at your wedding.
Also, the bride will get her picture taken with Superman.
Yes, because at the end, Superman will come in to save the day, and everyone gets to get their picture with Superman.
I think
Jimmy's win.
The key of this is to understand that Peter Parker is equal parts suck and tragedy. Okay? So, your options are either to have your wedding day turn out horribly or to be murdered. They're the only two. This is the guy who literally couldn't take a job as a wrestler without his uncle being directly killed by his inaction.
On the other hand...
No, that's only in the films. He's actually at the Ed Sullivan Show, coming out when the burglar runs past him and kills his dad.
On the other hand, it could be the end of one of those occasional story arcs where it actually ends well for him, because they used to mix it up. It was usually his luck was terrible. Every once in a while, things would turn out well. Maybe, like, the bride is a friend of Mary Jane's or something, and she'll get him the job, and he'll just have a good day for once. He occasionally had this.
Right.
He's taking a chance, though.
Yes, even if he's taking a chance.
At best, with Peter, you're going to have the happy ending after really horrible things happen. Like, that's the best you can hope for.
If Spider-Man's not there, maybe the bride is going to get murdered by the lizard.
Thank you. See, and
that's a very rare circumstance.
As you two said, in the Superman comic, especially a Jimmy Olsen Superman's pal comic, everything has to end in a lighthearted sort of beat. With a Peter Parker Spider-Man comic, even going back to Silver Age, we're talking, potential some dark stuff going on in your life.
Yeah.
But okay, there's another angle to this, however. The people hiring the photographers, I don't want to have to have anything to do with J. Jonah Jameson. I don't want my pictures running through his hands at all.
Yeah, he would claim copyright on them, and he wouldn't let you publish your own.
That's just a bad idea.
No, because that brings up a different issue, because Peter Parker freelancing on his own, or is this actually an assignment because you are important enough to be covered?
No, because you're hiring him as a wedding photographer. Peter Parker is specifically called out by J. Jonah Jameson as a freelancer, which means that Jonah doesn't have to pay him for any photos that J. Jonah Jameson doesn't want. But the flip side of that means that Peter Parker is free to sell his work to whichever paper he wants to, or to keep them for his own, or in this case, to sell them back to you for a hefty little fee.
There is a potentially tragic, even with like Jimmy Olsen stuff usually ending happily, there is a potentially tragic slant to this could take. If the bride or the groom turns out to be a disguised alien who's going through with the wedding as part of a plot to conquer the Earth, and Jimmy stumbles across this and puts a stop to it, you still have a broken heart there.
But in Silver Age
fashion? Usually not. Because what will happen is that
the best man will step in. I really loved you all along.
No, the alien that is going and doing the marrying will have already be having second thoughts about this whole invasion kind of thing, because they have actually fallen in love with the...
but is she going to want to marry him when it turns out he really has a squid head?
In Silver Age?
Probably, yes actually.
That's okay. Yeah. We're not prejudiced here.
So I'm speaking for my wedding. I'd be okay with that.
Okay, so we seem to be slanting towards Jimmy Olsen.
Hold on. So Little Mike has just moved himself into Galaxy Quest with... Hey, that's not right.
Listen. Don't try and impose your earthling morality on this young man's love life, okay?
I am fine with aliens.
little squid babies afterwards. Everyone's okay with that. Okay. Okay, so we've gone with Jimmy Olson pretty much here.
Yes.
All right.
Even when you tried to
All right.
for...
You're a low-level thug working in Gotham City. Which supervillain do you want to work for as a henchman?
Kite Man. I'm going to be coming out and just saying Kite Man. Look, of all Batman's villains, which one hasn't gotten this whole dark tone remake to him? Kite Man. You can't do diddly with Kite Man. Like Calendar Man was turned into a psychopathic killer. Kite Man? No, he has kites. Okay. Guess what? He gives you a hang glider.
But if we can choose Silver Age versions, then the guy to pick is the Riddler, because he leaves his riddle. You sneak back later and take the riddle away. The Riddler thinks he's finally fooling Batman and he's happy, and you don't get caught.
No, because
in Silver Age, you end up in a death trap because the Riddler figures out what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're removing
and in Bronze Age, Batman finds you. You have a 50-50 chance of Batman finding you in the death trap and saving you after grilling you for question. Find out what he's up to. Or he finds you dead and then uses your dead body to get clues to find the Riddler.
Yeah.
It's like you're removing the man's raison d'etre. All right?
But he doesn't know it. He's happy.
No, he will know it.
He'll know. He'll figure it out.
He is specifically called out as one of the smartest people in the city.
I still vote Penguin because Penguin, traditionally, for the longest time, until you get to this new Gotham series, is against murdering anybody.
Yeah.
He's not a killer.
It is
Catwoman in Silver Age will not kill.
Yeah. Now even Silver Age, you're taking a chance working with the Joker or Two-Face.
Yeah, Catwoman is your answer, because Catwoman vows not to kill.
I'm sorry,
She will not kill.
Catwoman would make you wear... Well, of course, if you're working in this line, you probably have a very high tolerance for costumes.
It's a supervillain thing. It's part of the job.
I'd rather work for Catwoman than Kmart. So.
Look,
okay.
Some people dress up as giant hot dogs and stand in front of a fast food place dancing.
Yeah, someone's going to put little ears and a tail on you and call you Manx or something.
Some of us...
that's not as bad as like the Goon shirt.
Hey, guys.
I could do the Goon shirt.
Guys, Kite Man. Hang glider. Your costume is a hang glider, okay?
What if you don't have a talent for hang gliding? I mean,
everybody has a talent for hang gliding. Can you hold on to a bar?
Does Kite Man pay benefits when you break your femur landing on the bank roof?
Obviously, the man has class.
You didn't ask who he had the skills for. You said, who do we want to work for?
Okay, now are you going to be
if he breaks his leg, on a bad landing for Kite Man is not going to go and say, well, we got to pull a bullet in you because you're slowing us down. Kite Man's going to be like, oh, well, just take the kite and make sure that he's hidden.
See you back in about a month or two there.
Kite Man is a good choice that I have to say I never considered. Now, would you be the sort of henchman who would say, no, not the death trap. Take his mask off. Look who he is. And shoot him.
No, not at all. Why? Because you're encouraging the arms race. As long as we maintain the status quo, Batman will beat your face in, and then you'll wake up in Blackgate, and they'll go to the infirmary, and everything's fine.
Now
you start offing capes, and we get into Red Hood. Okay. That's who's coming after you. You don't get even Nightwing. No, you get Red Hood.
Now, you realize if you're able to pick time period in which Batman, if you picked Adam West Batman, it almost wouldn't matter what villain, because Bruce Wayne would be funding your rehabilitation afterwards. All you have to do is say, yes, I want to go straight, and he'll get you a good job.
You can't see it, but I'm doing the Batusi right now.
Okay. Do we have any more?
That's a great social program that he's got going on there.
Yeah. Where did they find these guys? Of course, Marvel Comics did the whole Taskmaster School of Henchmen thing, which I actually thought was brilliant. So
kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
Next question.
You have an opportunity to enter the field of comedic sidekick. Which superhero or supergroup do you want to hang out with in this capacity?
I'm out.
You don't want to be comedic sidekick?
Nope, I'm out.
Why don't you want to be comedic sidekick?
Because there's about a 50-50% chance that you get shot in the head for drama.
Or you'll get to hit the Joker in the face with a cream pie.
We get to choose era.
We get to choose era.
Choose era. Okay, that's a little better.
So you can,
because we have to stay out of comics after 1984.
Because no one was ever going to knock off Snapper Carr as desperately as most readers, even in the '60s, wanted him to get killed. Of course, he wasn't really comedic sidekick. He was just like teenage guy that we were supposed to identify.
I don't know. I just don't have much respect for the comedic sidekick. Okay, if I'm allowed to be the Sokka of the group, that's another thing.
Yeah. No, just think about comedic sidekick for the Fantastic Four. You get to hang out in the Baxter Building. You get to carry stuff for Reed Richards while he's doing these amazing things.
So basically, you get to hang out.
And when you do something goofy, it's going to like bring a dinosaur through Dr. Doom's time machine, and that'll be cool in its own right.
Okay, so I think the points that we're setting out for comedic sidekick mean that you're never going to get killed off by anything. Mm-hmm. You're going to do things that are stupid and create drama, but there's not going to be any really horrible repercussions.
Right.
At the end of the thing, Reed goes, well, that wasn't a great idea now, was it?
It'd be like Gilligan. If they'd eaten Gilligan after the first episode, they would have been off that island in no time. But no one will...
So who are you kicking for?
West Coast Avengers.
Well, that would be cool. They got a nice house.
All right. We've got an awesome house.
Yeah.
They need a comedic sidekick. It has one of the best women-to-men ratios of any of the Avengers teams.
So part of your comedic sidekick shtick can be ineptly hitting on the female superheroes.
Exactly. I mean, you've got your gamut of women right there. I mean, I'm basically set. I mean, even the first issue is just all the Avengers saying, "Wow, this is so cool that we get all of these cool, like this nice mansion, the big pool." I get all that stuff, and I don't have the possibility of, one of their major villains pushing my teeth into my nose.
With the parameters that we have set, it's not necessarily the people that I'm like happiest to hang out with and everything else, but I really love the opportunities of, if you kick for the Green Lantern Corps, means you probably got a ring.
You mean Nort.
It's got a ring. You get to go all over space. You get to meet new species. You get to have adventures. And you've got the ability to actually do stuff. And
a fair percentage of the time, regardless of who your comedic sidekick is, you're going to do something stupid, and it's actually going to save the day. So that'll happen some of the time. So it'll kind of even things out.
Right, but then you're...
So, I really love the Justice League and everybody in there, but hey... Green Lantern Corps, I'll get to meet them too.
Yeah, but what about Super Friends, comedic sidekick? As long as you don't have to wear that stupid thing that Marvin wore.
You're not getting a ring. You're not getting powers.
Yeah, but...
You're just sitting there going and making all sorts of... Marvin makes all the mistakes, and Wendy cleans up all the messes.
You're going to get zapped into a storybook by Toy Man. That's kind of cool in its own right.
And you have a very warped definition. That's all you do.
Well, I get to be trapped in a deadly maze by the villain. Isn't that cool? I don't know. I'm kicking it in.
There was a cartoon where Toy Man had a ray that threw them into a storybook. They were like in Gulliver's Travels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kicking it poolside with a bucket of hot wings and Tigra.
Okay. Playing the new video game that Tony invented.
Exactly.
Okay, but you do have to put up with Hank Pym when he was in his I'm trying to redeem myself phase. He was pretty annoying then.
It is the West Coast.
I think what I would want is
you can kick for the Runaways.
With the Runaways though, Runaways would be a lot of fun.
Wasn't the little kid kind of the sidekick?
What the heck? It's like. Yeah, but kicking for the comedic sidekick of the Runaways, it's like
a bad idea.
Total whiplash.
You'll also be the only grown-up hanging out with these kids. Everybody's
No. I think the Runaways suffers too much from the Joss Whedon effect. I mean, they don't kill off that many members of their group.
They just kill off the likable ones. As soon as your popularity rises, bam!
Okay, let's
but comedic sidekicks have this very consistent thing. It's why he wanted to step out. Of being the unpopular character. So he will always be unpopular enough with the majority of people, but just popular enough with that little tiny amount of people that he will not be on the hit him for sympathy.
Or a lot of comedic sidekicks turn out to be like writers' favorites. So even when the fans hate them, the writers keep them there. So
I definitely want to do that. Because what I would want, I'm not even sure who I'd want. I think I prefer a hero to a supergroup. Preferably either a tech hero or a magic hero. Doctor Strange. I think that Doctor Strange.
Comedic sidekick for Doctor Strange.
Comedic sidekick for
Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
you realize you'll stumble through to a spell and end up in Dormammu's weird Dicko-esque
Those are
universe.
for the days where I.
Well, yeah, except you'll stop Dormammu's latest invasion of Earth by doing something goofy.
The thing is that because we're keeping this lighthearted, we're not going to think about any realistic consequences.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Because the realistic consequence, even if we keep with the basic parameters, you have some bad nightmares for the rest of your days from the stuff that you see in Doctor Strange's thing. Oh, I wasn't supposed to look through that.
That would be part of your shtick. I didn't want to see that. Why do I work here?
Yeah, I'm already like that. I'm okay with that.
Is it
At least it would
actually
be exciting.
that this whole time I've been hearing Doctor Doom, and I thought you wanted to be Doctor Doom's comedic sidekick?
Hey, you might save the world just by lightening him up.
Yeah, but I don't know if you get saved from that one.
No, there's no way you're not Doom. You'll make a joke about his gypsy girlfriend, and then you're just into the dungeon.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to
modern days, you'll make a joke about his gypsy girlfriend suit.
Okay.
Ooh, even better. I'm sorry. Okay. Final one. The people, the group I want to hang out with is the mystical group from Justice League Unlimited animated series.
So, like Zatanna, that was Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate.
The one's in his tower. Dr.
Right.
Fate.
Oh, the
Foe Defenders.
Yeah, the Foe
The
Defenders.
Foe Defenders. And Aquaman and Solomon Grundy when he was not evil.
But Solomon
Grundy
Grundy only makes it through the one.
Well, yeah. But he could be in a between episode sidekick.
I'm sorry, your first enemy is Cthulhu. Okay? All comedy dies in front of the Dark Lord of Madness.
Oh, yeah, keep things light.
Okay, are we
Next.
ready to... Next. Okay, an alien being with godlike powers arrives on Earth. He announces he will erase all memory of either Star Wars or Star Trek. He obligates you to choose between them. Which do you choose to eliminate from our cultural memory?
Okay, I'm going to play against type here.
Okay.
People who know me know that I am a massive Star Wars fanboy. I like Star Trek well enough, but I am a massive Star Wars fanboy. I will say, honestly, I would erase the memory of Star Wars. Over everything that's happened, Star Trek has given us the most real-world benefits.
Yeah.
More people in the real world have been inspired by Star Trek and its stupid spin-offs and its really great spin-offs.
Yeah.
That was actually the argument in my head for going the other way. It was simply like, if we got rid of Star Trek, would it get everyone off of their cell phones? We would not have cell phones.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking that all the advances we have would include no cell phones, and half my job at the library wouldn't be you can't use your cell phone in the library.
I think cell phone. That's the only argument that the cell phones came from Star Trek. I think
you can make. Of course, you can never know for sure.
I think they would have been developed independently.
But they might not be around where they are.
It depends on the cultural
ankle
things
bracelet
that come down.
came from Spider-Man. Okay.
It just depends on how things go and break down.
Yeah.
Honestly, even though I am a Star Wars person and I love real space opera kind of stuff, we'll find lightsabers someplace else.
I'm sorry, but I don't trust humanity with the lightsaber. like of all the technologies that could make a jump from sci-fi to the real world, the lightsaber is so far down the list that I think sandworms are above it. And they're not an invention.
But we'll get our fantasy storytelling from somewhere.
Here's my problem, though.
But that's what I'm saying. We'll keep Star Trek because it will keep our society alive.
I want to give an argument for each side here. If we lose Star Wars, we are losing something pretty important, pretty special.
We might be losing an entire film industry.
Yeah, we would be losing a lot in terms of entertainment technology.
As a fan of
LucasArts is huge. LucasArts reaches into every single facet of our current entertainment technology.
But think about it this way: Star Wars was not LucasArts' only film. In fact, George Lucas had already made films before this. Who knows if he couldn't have gone on to make Raiders of the Lost Ark first? It was just
this isn't changing time, though. This is forgetting about it.
Right.
But as a fan of older movies and the style of older movies, I wouldn't necessarily object if the blockbuster era that Star Wars and Jaws brought in went away.
Yeah,
I think those are great movies.
This entirely depends on the consequences.
But making more smaller movies, more film noir, more crime films with great
The alien is all powerful. He can tell us the consequences, and we all agree that the consequences decide our decision.
Yes.
I think that this one we can just kind of move on from.
Okay. playing hooky from work, school, and are going rafting down the Mississippi River in the early 19th century, which fictional/historical figure do you want to invite along as a companion? Since you're time traveling back to the 19th century, you can apparently pick up anyone from history or anyone from any fictional universe. So who do you want as your companion while drifting casually down the river with your feet in the water? Probably not Jaws.
Well, it depends.
19th century Mississippi River does not go and entice me in any way, shape, or form. So I want someone who's going to be able to take me in an entirely different direction than rafting down the Mississippi River in the 19th century.
Oh, you just have to read the first few paragraphs of chapter 20 of Huckleberry Finn, where he describes the sunset over the river and sunrise over the river, and you'll.
No, but that's beautiful, and you get to chill and everything else. But it's just like, okay, and then what? I would rather
Kirk take random phaser shots at the passing riverboats.
Honestly,
I would rather be steampunk airshipping down the Mississippi.
Okay, well let's open it up to that then.
That's what I'm saying. I would get someone who would turn that from a rafting ride into like a steam.
So you get Cyborg Ben Franklin.
Okay, let's put this limiter on it. Has to come from the 19th century. We can't be bringing our own.
Well then I'd be torn between Lincoln or Mark Twain, because I would love to have a conversation with either one.
Right, because you have no imagination.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
I'm sorry,
because
but
they're obvious great choices.
No, but
if
even if you go and bring like John Carter over there with
you, well, John Carter would be cool. There's
nothing for Lincoln
no
Martians
fought side by side with Captain Kirk.
Yeah, but there's no Martians for him to kill.
Yeah.
Lincoln also fought side by side with Batman.
Yeah. Well, there you go. He's got these great stories.
I lose all interest in this in this if we have to stick to people from the early 19th century.
So,
okay. Well, no. Let's open it up. It doesn't have to be rafting. It can be airshipping in a steampunk world.
Because then what your question actually becomes is, what late 19th century person would you like to just kind of sit around and have a conversation with? Because then you can go and say, well, I would like to go and talk to Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool. Or Kit Carson or Davy Crockett would be cool in other ways.
I don't know if he's 19th century. I think he's early 20th century. Conrad Kurtz.
From
Heart of Darkness.
From Heart of Darkness. So the original Heart of, not the Apocalypse Now one.
No, the original
Heart of
one.
Darkness.
Because if there's a man who's going to take me down river and show me some really crazy, it's going to be Conrad Kurtz.
I have a weird one.
Okay.
I'm actually thinking now, it's like, wait a minute. Wouldn't it be kind of interesting to go back and meet El Fego Vaca?
Yeah.
He's an actual ancestor of mine.
Oh, okay.
And he's an actual, person of note.
Yeah.
So it'd be quite interesting to
but
find out some of the
things. I mean, I wouldn't mind talking to Grant or Phil Sheridan about their careers.
Theoretically, I've got an ancestor at that time who would be working with Bill's Wild West show.
Yeah. Buffalo Bill would be another fun one to talk to, because he'd be full of nonsense when he talked.
Yeah, that's why I'd probably talk to my great grandfather who was in the show.
Yeah,
he was one of the Native Americans.
He wouldn't care whether the stories he was telling was real or not. Okay, which of these is the most likely explanation for the extinction of the dinosaurs? Killed by giant robots from Alpha Centauri, overhunting by time-traveling safaris, they aren't dead, they're simply left, and they're coming back soon! Or a bratty kid playing unsupervised with his dad's time machine. One of these four reasons is why the dinosaurs went extinct. Which one
four is the most likely, I think. But the thing is, which one's the most interesting?
Now, see, funny enough, you actually picked the right answer, Tim. Despite your best effort, you actually picked the real answer.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Well, I know, but which one is the real answer?
It's number 3.
Number 3, they aren't dead. They simply left.
Actually,
they're coming back soon.
I'm going to let my paleontological geek flag fly high on this one.
They turned into birds, and
they really
back
did.
Into dinosaurs.
Birds are actually dinosaurs. They come from dinosaurs. You start looking at them, and nowadays we have feather. We know that dinosaurs had feathers on them. At least some of them did. So you have this really cool thing.
You're bringing actual science into this question.
I know. Isn't it cool how I can geek the heck out of Jurassic Park like this? That's the actual.
We know it's not the giant robots, because they would have taken a few of the giant robots out, and we'd find them in the fossil record.
But I mean, honestly, I think number 2 is personally my favorite. like most geeks, I've always wanted to write a story, but I never get off my butt to do it.
It is amazing how many great science fiction stories about time traveling to dinosaur times include hunting dinosaurs. You know, A Gun for Dinosaur.
It's because
the Time Safari one by Michael, Sound of Thunder.
Yeah.
There been several novels based on that. You know, whenever anybody thinks dinosaurs, time travel, they think, grab an elephant gun.
It's because, A, they're going extinct anyway. So, automatically no limits big game hunting.
Okay, does that mean you need to regulate it so that you
but that's
don't
not the first thing I
them?
think, though. The first thing I think is if you could go and do it, is that I do want to do the paleontological, archaeological kind of study, where you do the duck blind and you get to see what the heck these animals actually did.
And then you shoot one.
You don't need to shoot one.
Listen, Ben, there's a whole planet of them.
I like 3 because the dinosaurs realized that the Earth was just doomed. It was done. They were just done with this place, and so they created an ark, and they just left the planet. And
no, they had their own Jor-El, man. They had their own Jor-El. They're like, there's a meteor coming. It's going to go and wipe us out. We're going to have
according to Doctor Who, the intelligent dinosaurs put themselves in suspended animation and then overslept badly.
No Silurians, but we are going to just like build space arcs and get off the planet because the dinosaurs are smarter than Kryptonians.
So basically, there's a planet of velociraptors, and one velociraptor has landed, and because of the rays of the red sun, there is some kind of super being.
So Super Raptor will be the new DC hero soon. Can you kill Godzilla with a Starfleet issue Type 2 hand?
Oh, I don't even want to.
Eventually.
Eventually? Now, in any of the classic Godzilla movies, did they ever try a disintegrator ray of any size, shape, or form?
I think that those tanks are essentially your closest.
Well, they were kind of lasers, though. They weren't actual disintegrators.
The old geek term used to be ineffectual blue lasers.
Yeah, but there was no.
They were only good for annoying him. But
everything was only good for annoying him. Why do they keep destroying half of Tokyo when they know it won't work?
Honestly, you would think that they would cut to the point where instead of making, a giant robot to fight him, they would just make a giant robot that looks like any other monster to just, guide him away because he wants to fight whatever big monster it is.
Yeah.
And then you let him fight that monster and destroy it in the middle of nowhere. He goes back into the ocean.
You have this, which in one of the classic episodes was used to kill thousands of attacking barbarians on a particular planet. Yes. So you can't do a lot of damage with one phaser set to disintegrate. No. Could you set it to disintegrate, point it at Godzilla's head, and take him out?
Here's the thing.
The amount of surface area that it goes and affects, it would take you several shots, even if you're going to go and do that. Because you would be able to go and, disintegrate his eye. And then you would be able to disintegrate back further into his brain.
So, that's 2 for eventually.
Okay.
But it depends on how quick Regenerator G is working.
Yeah.
Because if Regenerator G has moved up to, certain era Wolverine, then all of a sudden it's like, no, I can't fire fast enough.
These had an overload, which would eventually make them explode. Could you funnel the overload power into one shot and shoot the entire energy off?
Because that was the point of overload, is that you could not go and focus it. Now you could set it to overload and throw it in his mouth and hope that, he hasn't
swallowed it. Yeah, but he's always surviving explosions.
Well, here's the catch, is Godzilla is essentially a walking nuclear reaction. Mm-hmm. So, tossing another explosion into the nuclear core that is Godzilla.
It would all depend on how quickly he disintegrates and whether or not he's susceptible to that. Maybe something about his radioactivity would actually protect him from disintegrating. So
maybe we evolve him further.
Maybe.
I don't think phasers are supposed to use radiation.
No, they don't. But maybe the radiation will alter the phaser.
I mean, it has to work on some sort of energy. Yeah.
Full phased energy, whatever that means. I don't know if it has any real life application or
Disruptors were microwave based.
Oh, okay. So every time a Klingon shoots at you, he's actually
microwave.
Yes.
Okay. Who would win a war between the Klingons and the Wookiees?
I think it's the Klingons.
The Wookiees are very technological and have spaceships.
It doesn't matter when you just bomb them from orbit. I mean, Klingons...
let's presume... Actually, to make it fair, let's presume that they want to take the planet intact for resources or slaves or whatever.
You can still go and, with the technology that Star Trek has, wipe out populations and still leave the planet intact for what they need.
Well,
I mean, they have not terraformed the planet.
But we're not talking Romulans here. We're not talking a species that
Klingons would want the honor of fighting the
Klingons are not honorable.
No,
you have D7s up there.
Okay, I've got old school.
That's old school Klingons.
Yeah.
Old school Klingons are not honorable creatures. They don't care.
Okay, here's actually a point I really like. For a Klingon, the most honorable thing is to win. And they don't have any problem with transporting up all the Wookiee leaders.
I'm taking this to another level, though, but the Wookiees are very technologically savvy. Let's presume they've built a shield around their impronounceable
No, what you're
planet.
talking about is you want to have a non-technological land.
No, I want them both to be able to use technology. I want disruptors in
right, but you don't want them to have access to aerial warfare. Planetary
you want them just running across fields, shooting each other, and sticking each other with batlets and using Wookiee strength.
Ultimately, the problem is that Wookiees have a decent sense of right and wrong. Mm-hmm. Most Wookiees are at their core good, kind-hearted, peaceful people. Klingons aren't. A Klingon will go to town on Wookiees. They will go to levels that the Wookiees will not.
Unless
the Wookiee society will exile you if you use your claws in a hand-to-hand fight.
But they will fight in self-defense.
I think if it came to war, I think the Wookiees would actually become pretty terrifying because they would be forced to lose a lot of those social stigmas.
Now there is an advantage the Wookiees may have
of the difference between the two of them.
And isn't their planet supposed to be like a death planet with all this dangerous stuff on it? So the Wookiees can protect themselves against that. They can defend themselves.
It was supposed to be, but now that they've gone and actually shown it in episode 3,
I think so. Yes.
The original thing used to be they never went down to the ground level anywhere because the entire ground level was Death Planet. Mm-hmm. So you had to stay up. But they showed everybody coming in over the water, and they're having fights down there.
We are forgetting one important thing that the Wookiees are bringing in from their universe, the Force. Theoretically, there are Wookiee Jedi and Wookiee Sith. The Klingons have no experience with this, at all. Any Wookiee capable of chucking Klingons off of trees. We're talking miles-high trees.
Okay,
I do like your answer, but there's one big problem the Klingons have. They live in a world with phasers, and they bring batlets to the fight. At least the Wookiees primarily use
they are always bringing a bladed weapon to a phaser fight. But of course, in Star Trek, whether any one Star Trek series has been overall good or bad, they have never shown infantry tactics intelligently. They're always shooting phasers as one-shot weapons, where if there's 300 Klingons over there and you have first shot, you win. They're gone. And they never show them doing that. They never show them fighting intelligently, no matter who.
But the thing is that disruptors are different than phasers.
Well, yeah, but if
disruptors honestly are supposed to just shoot like a little packet. They don't beam.
But there was a Deep Space Nine episode where they were getting invaded by the Klingons. The Klingons were beaming on board, and they had phasers, Federation phasers. And
but that's just the way that they always do that. And we know that that's actually a limitation not of their tactics, but of the
budget
and
cost
animation,
of the budget and
storytelling to go and keep things from just being
it always annoyed me though.
Stop getting your actual logic in all this.
No, it always annoyed me.
You bring in the Force, and I will go for Wookiees.
I like Wookiees.
Okay, you have one night free in Las Vegas. Which show do you go see? Zatanna's Magic Show, Vigilante's Country Music and Motorcycle Stunt Show, Dazzler's Retro Disco Show, Mr. Miracle's Escape Show, or Superman Super Feats for Charity Show?
Superman Super Feats for Charity Show.
We see that every day on the Metropolis News.
And you're about to be attacked by something. Superman is like a magnet.
But when he does those, that's a Silver Age thing, and the crowd never really gets hurt. You just become the latest super feat that he performs.
Right, but then you're going to miss out on half the show because Lex just stole 40 pies.
Well, here's the thing.
Mr. Miracle's Escape Show lasts like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's usually something really fantastic.
Yeah, but it's also YouTubeable.
Okay.
That's the other thing. It's like everything else is YouTubeable, and Zatanna actually makes sure that her show does not look like it couldn't be regular magic.
Michael has something to add.
I think that the argument of Superman's show is going to get interrupted is not really necessary. necessary because sometimes that might be like the opening of the show. Like he's doing a charity thing. Batman comes up to him afterwards, say, "Hey, we have this problem. We need you to come over," and nothing happens to the show. It just
we might not even notice the interruption. It's like the bank next door is being robbed. He zips out between feet at super speed and catches them.
While all three elephants are still in the air,
right?
He runs over, stops the whole little crime, comes back and catches the elephant.
Yeah, and we don't even notice.
We didn't
even
see that.
Was there just a blur there? I guess not.
I do prefer Satanic Magic Show, but that's because I like magic.
Yeah. And I like Vigilante a lot as a character. You remember I played him in our role-playing game? Mm-hmm. I would not pay money to hear him sing. I simply would not.
But there's a motorcycle stunt show, too.
I hate to say it, but I'm going to go with Dazzler on this one.
It's Disco! Oh!
Okay.
Dazzler's my number 2
out of 5, you have 3 of them are professional performers, okay? Mm-hmm. And out of those 3... It's a toss-up.
You have 4.
Superman's the only one who's not a professional.
No, Mr. Miracle...
No, that's what he did for a living.
He was supposed to be a professional.
Yeah, that's what he did for a living.
Okay. But still, he's probably better seen on TV, because his, best escapes are probably going to be,
in
the middle of nowhere.
From what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's
so friggin'
he straps a nuclear weapon to his face.
While going down a roller coaster towards a shack of dynamite. So yes, you do have to be well.
There are the simple ones where Orion goes and knocks him out. They bind him up with the concrete, spray on concrete, stick him in a bag, and throw him in a hell pit.
Yeah, but it is true. If you go see Mr. Miracle's show, you're going to be watching most of it on a big screen from well back anyway.
And honestly, Dazzler is just like a laser light show. She is her own laser Floyd at the planetarium. Okay.
But theoretically,
with ABBA.
No, but that is actually the difference between Zatanna and Dazzler. Dazzler actually made sure that she did things that you could not do with the technology for her visual effects, while Zatanna is always trying to hide that she's actually a spellcaster and tries to make sure that everything she does you could believe was performed with regular magic.
Now,
stage magic.
Of the 5, actually, maybe Mr. Miracle's the most likely to be overtly interrupted by a supervillain, because Darkseid could decide he has plans for him and come back and send the femme fatales for him or something.
Maybe, but usually he gets pulled away while he's going and rehearsing for the show.
That's true.
Not when he actually is doing the show.
Yeah. So unlike many superhero situations, you're probably not in personal danger if you go to any of these.
Yeah, Zatanna usually doesn't...
I do kind of like Will's retro disco, but charity events are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they are. Charity events are
it would be cool to watch him juggling elephants live rather than...
Or doing some other super feat, because you never know what he's going to come up with.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the whole thing, is that Superman really
has... And charity events are often, they go wild, because...
they keep trying to top what they've done before.
Right, you're really trying to push things.
But Superman is my first one, and Dazzler is definitely my second.
Until we get some super monkeys on the Superman charity show.
Well, when do we know if this is a Silver Age show? Maybe he's got Beppo coming there.
Exactly.
Beppo and Crypto and Streaky and
the
Super
Pets. We could see the Super Pets.
I think if
I think that wins.
That would win.
Okay, legitimately forget Superman. I want to see the Super Pets at a charity show.
Yes.
That would be cool.
What if they start bringing in Purdy 2 and
all
the other?
See, I would actually
from the 30th century
with special guest Ace the Fat Hound.
I would prefer to see not just Superman Super Feats, but Justice League charity show. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, even just the Super Friends.
As if, say, they were to hold a baseball game, say against, just picking at random here, the Legion of Doom.
I'd pay to see
What
that.
Strange Sports Stories was that?
I do not remember. I'll have to look that up.
But that was a Strange Sports Story issue before it was a cartoon.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we ready to move on? Yeah. All right, you need one more optional credit to get your college degree. Here's the available classes. Choose one. Advanced Subatomic Physics, taught by Dr. Ray Palmer. Archaeology 101, taught by Dr. Henry Jones. Investigative Reporting Techniques, taught by Lois Lane. Reptilian Biochemistry, taught by Dr. Kirk Connors. And Library Sciences, taught by Barbara Gordon. Now, off, investigative reporting, she would take you on a field trip, Lois, and you'd get kidnapped.
Okay, first off, everybody knows if you are we going for an easy A or not? Because the easy A is going to be archaeology with Dr. Jones.
It is, but do you get the impression that except for the girls who were crushing on him, he was a boring lecturer?
Yeah, but here's the catch.
That's kind of
most universities say that if your professor is 15 minutes late to class is considered canceled and you can leave without penalty. Do you understand how many times a year that this class is going to be canceled?
Okay.
Because he's in like the Mediterranean.
What is it about
Nazis?
academia that we don't object to not getting what we paid for? I paid $15,000 tuition to take these classes. One's canceled. Yay! I'm not getting what I paid for. So,
because what you're paying for is the piece of paper at the end.
Yeah.
And if you get the check mark,
I'm sorry. I'm not an archaeology
student.
student. I'm just picking up some Gen Ed credit here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not taking advanced subatomic physics for a Gen Ed.
See, advanced subatomic physics taught by Ray Palmer is just going to be a regular class. He never really gets pulled away.
Didn't he first use his powers when he took his class Spelunky for some weird
reason?
And there was a cave in?
Yeah, but he didn't do it as a demonstration.
And why did
he doesn't do demonstrations. It's a secret
Spelunky
ID.
anyway?
It's not like he goes and he says, "Okay, kids, I'm going to go and take a GoPro camera and I'm going to shrink down. And you're going to see me go and do all this subatomic stuff and get a real view of the subatomic world."
Yes,
no,
but
it's in a regular class.
He's teaching as a
archaeology, all you're getting is a regular class where all the girls are just like eating up time.
Okay. Now,
investigative reporting techniques taught by Lois Lane.
She's going to get kidnapped by the mob. She's going to take on a field trip.
Because she's not going to want to sit in the classroom. You're at least going to go out and do places.
Right.
Connor's 15 minutes late. He's actually going to disappear from class at some point in time.
Yeah.
Library sciences taught by Barbara Gordon. That's a 50-50 because a lot of the times she wasn't having to leave. She was like the hero who wasn't interrupted by things a lot of the time, unless you go to the 66 show. She just got like clues at work, and then after work she would go.
It's like she just sits around all day.
Okay. But with subatomic physics, he's still teaching the subject, which means there's going to be a lab.
Okay, I'm actually going to go by...
And then he's going to have to say, "Oh no, I shrunk my shirt instead. Everybody stay clear. I'll go contact the atom."
I'm going to go...
I'm
going to go one by one.
And then you'll be like in a petri dish fighting a praying mantis.
I'm going to go one by one and go through the kind of pros and cons here.
Okay.
So Dr. Ray Palmer, advanced subatomic physics. I don't know. I don't think...
That's just a regular class.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a regular class. Like, you can take it, but that's not really a field I'm interested in at all. So, just
archaeology.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're doing like grad research. If I were on my grad school, maybe I talked to Ray Palmer about being my thesis advisor.
Right. If I were already invested in
is one of your questions later, which school do you choose to go to? Xavier Academy, Hogwarts, or then this matters because we might actually have to need subatomic physics if we're going to go and get into Starfleet.
Unfortunately, I did that question on Facebook with a family I know for their kid, but I didn't add it to this. I should have.
All right, so
maybe I did.
Reporting.
I might have added it
third one.
I think it's just you're way too likely to get into trouble with Lois Lane.
That's the guaranteed one.
Yeah, she's just...
That's her job.
That's
her real job.
I don't think she'd actually like
field
teaching.
experience.
And she wouldn't like teaching.
And she's going to teach you bad.
Yeah.
She's going because you're going to be kidnapped, and you are not Superman's girlfriend.
And depending on the continuity, she's going to be a bad influence in terms of spelling and grammar.
Well, no. I think there is another positive thing for going for investigative and reporting techniques taught by Lois Lane. Because Lois Lane is going to teach you thievery skills.
That is cool.
She's going to teach you how to pick locks. Yeah. She's going to teach you how to go and stealth your way into places without getting caught. She's going to teach you how to bypass security systems.
But that's not investigative reporting. That's crime.
You know what we don't know enough?
Not in the DCU.
You know what we don't know enough about Indiana Jones's course is he must have had somebody standing by to fill in for him.
Yeah.
Because he was gone at a moment's
notice. One would assume Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is covering.
So would Marcus be? I mean, if you ignore,
he seems like actually an intelligent guy when it comes to ancient
it's
history.
Another subject, but I absolutely loathe the way they presented him in Last Crusade.
I was going to say, but Last Crusade says otherwise.
Yes, I know.
No. He's an idiot when it comes to modern culture. He's great if you want to know what the Sumerians were doing here.
Yeah.
He's horrible if you want anything in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it changes to the Babylonians.
Right.
Okay, but as far as it being potentially, you had some more.
Right. Well, I don't think you really. I think you want to stay away from Kirk Connors. Just as far.
Yeah, if he turns into the lizard
there
at a bad moment.
No, but there is a 30% chance that you'll be sitting in his class and waiting for him, and Spidey and the Lizard will crash through a wall.
Yeah, you wonder why that happens so often during commerce classes.
You become one of his favorite students. In which case, your odds of a reptile attack dramatically increase.
Or you yourself could be turned into a giant reptile at some point.
Okay, we're not talking the benefits here.
And actually going for library sciences taught by Barbara Gordon, I think she's probably the most interesting lecturer of them all. I think she would actually be someone who would be interesting to listen to.
She's the nicest one to look at if you make your educational decisions.
Well, library sciences, if you're going to get her kind of off topic and stuff,
beat you silly.
Yeah.
You're going to end up having some very interesting conversations, like you said. You're going to be in a safe class, and she's going to have all sorts of Batman and police stories, and she'll even have politics stories if you get her at the right time period.
Yeah.
Which actually turns into international adventures.
By the way, talking about Dr. Jones and potential danger, do we consider Crystal Skull continuity, or have we rejected it completely? Because he did get into a chase fight with Russian spies on the campus.
Well,
he did, but that's like at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And there's a 5th movie coming out, so we don't know.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know. Everybody's already made all the...
Next question.
Okay, you've just graduated from Starfleet Academy. Which captain do you want for your first commander? This is ignoring that they're in different time periods. Archer, Pike, Kirk, Terrell, Sulu, Harriman, Picard, Janeway, Sisko. Terrell, remember, was the Reliance captain from Wrath of Khan. Harriman was the Enterprise B at the beginning of Generations.
Okay, I'm sorry, but why do we have half the people on this list? Because you know what's going on.
Well, half of them you wouldn't go anywhere near, obviously.
Most of them I wouldn't go anywhere near. They treat my life as it's expendable.
Well, it depends on whether, if you're with Kirk, it depends on what color uniform you're wearing. Okay. Just don't go into security.
Okay. Well, let's just, again, go by each one. Archer. Mm-hmm. The only reason you choose Archer is because you just want to have a hilarious time making fun of him. That's the only reason to be behind Archer.
And you can watch him lose every fist fight he gets into and just laugh at him.
If you control Archer, then my life might be set right there. Just trolling Archer and like, hey, you want to go fight?
No.
Talk to these Klingons who are going to beat you up.
You want to troll? You want to troll
Nobody
a
saw
captain?
you doing the camera thing on our video here. Like, that's not how videos work.
You want to troll a captain. Number 2, Captain Pike. 1 beep for yes, 2 beeps for no, sir.
No, this is presuming when he was commander of the Enterprise.
Oh.
It depends on how big your expanded universe is.
Yeah.
Because if you just go with
I would feel
what's
bad
on film,
for trolling Pike.
You know,
I don't feel bad for
sounds
trolling
like he's
Captain
actually
Pike.
a decent choice.
Yes.
Because
do you think I should take the rest of the day off and just hang out in the holodeck? Beep, beep. yes. Okay.
No, but Pike in the Menagerie, or in the original
he
Cage,
shows concern for his crew.
Yeah, but the Doctor and he are specifically having conversations about, the fact that he's gotten them through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And, everything has, worked out okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Sulu. Because Sulu is a man who's worked his way up from the ranks.
But I haven't heard what they've done with him in, expanded universe kind of stuff. So I don't know what his track record is for what happens to his crew.
Yeah, Terrell we don't know.
But Sulu himself is a good commander.
You know what I think of Terrell? And this is granted that he actually sacrificed his life rather than be forced to murder somebody, which was actually pretty cool. But he had that very casual relationship with Chekhov as his first officer. And then later on, his crew was apparently taken over very easily. I think he was too light on discipline, and that it would be a bad place to work if you got into trouble on the Reliant, because he didn't keep his crew quite as disciplined enough.
That said, I always get the feeling for the Reliant, it was just not that, high-stress position.
It's not. Reliant is a research vessel.
It was just but
it had enough weaponry to take on, and had to get a sneak attack in first.
Yeah, but the thing is that kind of what you're talking about there is genetic Superman versus scientist with not even.
So you're figuring that it might be light on discipline, but they're doing the things like, let's find a planet with no life on it. It's very low stress.
It is a research thing. You have gotten into Starfleet. Starfleet does not have minimums for combat training.
Yeah.
It's not like you go through the military with boot camp where you have to go and learn how to fire a weapon to a certain proficiency.
No, you just have to learn how to die to Klingons.
There's the SF debrief site where he does reviews of the Star Trek stuff. He's got a great bit he does from Star Trek First Contact, showing the guy on one of the helmsman during the fight with the Borg cube, saying, why am I doing this? I just wanted to be a biologist.
Well, navigation was its own specialty.
Yeah. So, I always had the feeling that Sulu would be a good commander.
I like Sulu.
I'd go with Sulu.
And he certainly did well in the one movie.
The thing is, like, Cisco, like, if you want to actually improve yourself as a person, I think Cisco's your best bet. Because Cisco has
but you're gonna get killed by a Jem'Hadar or a
I didn't care for Deep Space Nine, so I don't care for Cisco.
I think Cisco would be the most likely to whip you into shape.
Yeah. Cisco seems like probably the best military commander out of all. Like he seems like the closest
he's the most
to a
military.
legitimate.
I don't think that he's the best military commander.
So
what I mean is, I think that because Kirk has too many, like, part of it is size. Like, Kirk has too many people he's having to worry about. You know, like
Cisco had a smaller
you're not going to be dealing with Kirk at all.
Picard had children on his ship. The man had children on a warship.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that when
he played the flute.
No, but when you...
I'm not working for any man who plays the flute.
No, but when you go and you phrase it this way, which captain you want as your first commander, he's not captaining Deep Space Nine. You're talking about him before he gets assigned to Deep Space Nine, and you're on a ship with him.
That's true. He is kind of infamous for getting everybody killed.
Yes.
Everybody.
They gave them a ship. They gave them a ship to use eventually, but it was designed specifically to be a warship.
You don't want half these people in their first command, though. Then.
Well, no, you could go to Picard in his third year as commander, and you're just a new crewman on board.
No, but the thing is that Picard is still captaining a starship, regardless of where you get him in his thing. Cisco is the only one who gets pulled off of a starship and given a starbase command.
Yeah.
I like Cisco. I like Cisco because, again, he's just that.
I never got that much into Deep Space Nine either, but I did like Cisco as a character.
I don't know. I think Deep Space Nine is like the death knell of fleet postings. You know, you're like that's where you go if you're washing up.
Until you become front line of a brutal war, and then you're an important person again.
Well, later on, they actually became like a port. Like they became actually like a hub of intergalactic.
Yeah, and then they became the key part in the war with the.
Right, but
that was the whole thing. Is that he was chosen for a position that was going to be political. Yeah. He was going to be an ambassador. He was going to be negotiating. He was going to be going and dealing with, turning into a trade post.
Yeah,
and and he had skills to do that, and that's what he was chosen for. It's just that war ended up on his doorstep, and he had.
I think it depends. I kind of like Sulu. I like Sulu.
We all kind of like Sulu.
We all like Sulu.
Sulu, I think, is a safe pick. Like if you just want to have a safe.
If I'm not a security guy, I would be very tempted to pick Kirk too, because everybody liked him.
I like Sulu because Sulu.
Yeah, but no, nothing before Picard because holodecks. I'm sorry, before you get Next Generation, you don't have the holodeck, and the holodeck is such an amazing piece of invention.
And then you get kicked out of Federation eventually because you're addicted to the holodeck.
But don't discount the fact that we always talk famously about red shirts getting killed and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of original episodes where things get onto the ship.
Yes.
And they kill random technicians and random scientists.
Someone did a breakdown once. And first season, red shirts were ahead by just a little bit. Yeah. And it was second season that red shirts obsession with the cloud that was sucking blood out of people. Mm-hmm. That was like a red shirt holocaust. So all of a sudden, that's when it took off, and the red shirt mythology actually became a real.
Let us bow our heads for the red shirt holocaust.
All right, let's next.
Okay, you've gotten 3 job offers, each of which requires you to relocate. Which job do you take? Stark Industries in Los Angeles, Hawaiian Enterprises in Gotham City, or McDuck Enterprises in Dublin?
Stark Industries, L.A.
Well, you will get attacked by a supervillain.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you will.
It's Los Angeles in the Marvel Universe. It may as well not exist.
The man has a point.
I get a lot of money.
The only hero that was out there for the longest time was Spider-Woman.
That
was the only hero.
When the West Coast Avengers moved out there, they started getting some action.
Right. But at this point in time, we keep the superheroes away, and that keeps the supervillains away.
I'm sorry, but regardless of anything else, Stark Industries is your winner here, just because no one wants to live in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
And if you move to McDuck, you have 2 choices. Either you are a human, which is a freak in Duckburg, or you become a duck.
Or a dog. A lot of them were dogs.
Any kind of anthropomorphic animal.
Also, you only get paid 25 cents a day.
But their economy works on that, apparently.
Yeah,
apparently standard of living is pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're okay with if we get to become Duckburg might actually be the winner when I stop and think about it.
Well, no, because what we think of as 25 cents
are Magic of Dispel and the Beagle Boys. None of them are deadly dangers. Nobody ever dies.
Well, but what we think of as 25 cents is actually Scrooge McDuck's company script. He's forced you into a life of indentured slavery by making you spend these 25 cents that he gives you at company stores.
But actually, Scrooge McDuck, the way the character eventually developed, when Karl Barks was created him and eventually developed him, was that he was stingy and greedy as heck, and he would pay you as little as possible, but he was pathologically honest. He took incredible pride in having earned every dime he made honestly. And he was... And in the end, he would always be fair-minded, even if it meant he had to dig a little deeper into his pockets.
Yeah, but that still means because Stark will actually give you a fair wage.
Yeah.
From the very get-go, he'll give you a fair wage.
Yeah.
He will...
But I just say, if Tony Stark is based in Los Angeles, then stuff is going to happen.
Now, I will also say this. Your odds of becoming a superhero, not just superpowers, because that's Wayne Enterprises, your odds of becoming a superhero are greatest at Stark Industries. You're more likely to become a superhero. You're more likely to go insane and become a supervillain from Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah,
you've got a 50-50 shot.
Doesn't matter how clean he keeps his factory, you're going to drop into a vat of chemicals no matter what.
Wayne Enterprises basically has two paths. I'm going to become a supervillain or I'm going to become a victim. That's Gotham City.
Right. Stark Industries either offers you the supervillain or the superhero career paths.
Stark Industries has plenty of people who just get to be regular people.
Well, Stark Industries has developed the you get superpowers suit, which is step into this suit and now you have superpowers.
There's always a chance that Tony will be down and you'll be the only one there who can put on the armor to save the day.
I mean, the dashing Iron Man works at Stark Industries as Tony Stark's bodyguard. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
does it make a difference if it's set in an era where you think he's his bodyguard or where you know Tony is Iron Man? Does that make a difference in the decision?
I think it matters greitly, because if I know my boss is a superhero, then I know that my life is probably measured in like months.
I was going to say I'm not certain if it does because I haven't read enough of things after like 2000 and stuff. But it's the old formula used to be if you find out if your boss is a superhero, then all of a sudden the workplace becomes just much more dangerous.
Yeah.
If someone's just working there,
which then sends you to Scrooge McDuck again. Neither the Beagle Boys nor Magic of Dispel nor anybody else who might try to rob the bank or try to rob the money vein or to get his number one dime is going to do anything to kill you. So you might get turned into a duck.
I don't know.
But you'll get turned back.
I'm going to wait until Glomgold pays me off to be a corporate spy.
Oh man, you work for Glomgold?
I don't know.
No, actually, the question the question I have to put before everybody to see if it goes and changes the thing.
Okay.
So you go to Duckburg. You're going to become an anthropomized, animal, but you get to choose which animal. So if you can go over there and say like an anthropomorphized platypus, I get to be Bill Studley platypus for hire.
The most common ones were ducks, dogs, and pigs.
Anthropomorphic mouse. I own you now. Oh boy!
You didn't think it's becoming
time to pay your master.
Next.
Stark.
Okay, this is the last one. You've lost your money, home, and all worldly goods, and you decide to run away into space to get away from it all. Do you join a caravan of space gypsies, outcasts from various planets, who sail around the solar system in beat-up ships, scrounging supplies, and working temporary odd jobs at spaceports, or become a hermit in the jungles of Venus, adopting a protoceratops for a pet, and live by trapping small dinosaurs for their skins and trading with the local lizard?
I vote civilization.
You vote?
I vote space gypsies.
I'm looking at it like this.
Civilization.
Number one gives me a cool, dry environment, and number two promises a life of heat and humidity. I'm on number one.
So I came up with one where there's no debate at all.
Oh no! It's just the choice. Do you like to have conveniences?
Yes, I know.
And a livable environment, or do you want to go and rough it for the rest of your existence?
Because let's face it, if we have protoceratops and small dinosaurs, that means that there's an inordinate amount of apex predator dinosaurs floating around.
Yes, if nothing else, you would be sad when your Protoceratops George gets eaten.
Yeah.
But the first one,
unless it's Dinotopia, you don't choose to.
Like, okay, I'll admit, like, to me, like, I've always loved the scavenger archetype.
Yeah.
Just, like, that's always been a really cool thing for me. Like, the guy who goes in, scavenges from from ships and stuff. Like,
so you want to be on the space gypsy caravan and be their scrounger guy. So you go into Marsport. Oh, we need a new, we need a new power regulator for our engines on ship number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dropped out in the middle of nowhere, and given the little compass, and is like, navigate your way back home. I don't want to live like that.
What's sad is that was his mom.
What?
No.
And he was only 2.
See, for a guy who can barely change the oil in his own car, I have an inordinate amount of love for starships that are like on the verge of breaking down.
So if Ben can keep his van running, then he can help with the space gypsies.
No, it's space gypsies. You just have to have random skills. Everybody has to have random skills.
Yeah.
See, they're also,
so I've got all sorts of random skills. I can play music. I
They're
can
the
do
most
art.
accepting. The space gypsies are going to be very tight knit.
Yeah.
They're
gonna need everybody for something.
Yeah.
Now you realize because they are gypsies, every time you go into port, you're going to be suspected of every petty crime that happens. Because
space gypsies, space pirates, they're going. It's the same.
Yeah. Well, if you're a space pirate, you're probably guilty of the crime. If you're a space gypsy, then the stereotype is you're always being falsely accused of the crime.
Now, I mean, are we talking like Serenity kind of space gypsies, pirate vagabonds, as we will?
No, think of the stereotypical Eastern European gypsy caravan
like,
where they
to
stop
me, when you said space gypsies and then parentheses outcasts from various planets, I kind of think like for French Foreign Legion.
So you're gonna have the multi-tentacled guy from Neptune. As one of your mates on.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. When you said gypsies, I did not think about gypsy culture. I did not think about a unified clan structure.
Yeah, no, okay, that's right. It was actually a bad example because in that gypsy thing, they're all the same.
The same.
I know it is. I know it's terrible. So no, I'm thinking you have your Venetians, you have your Martians, you have your guys from Canada.
Because you're just talking about cosmic castaways.
Yes, and they form.
They
form their caravan.
Oh my god, we could totally form the Starjammers.
We could.
Why do you have to remind me of that song?
But what happens? What happens when you? What happens when you leave Marsport? And you're on your way. You're on your way to Io, let's say, and then you discover that one of your friends on the caravan actually did rob the rainbow jewels of Mars from Marsport.
Lock
you
him.
Turn them in?
Lock them.
Airlock them.
Airlock them.
Airlock them. That seems a bit hard.
Airlock them. My ship runs a tight discipline. As we said before, if you don't want to be killed by genetic supermen, you need tight discipline.
Well, I was just thinking,
I shall be the Captain
How far do
Bligh.
you take space gypsy loyalty if one of the people on your crew actually commits a crime?
But that depends on what kind. That's why space gypsy is kind of like a bad term.
Can we actually not go into this because that's way too complicated.
And we're also getting into a little bit of racism here. Just a whiff.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The space gypsy is a bad term because this is just like your cosmic castaways. It depends on what kind of group you've assembled.
Yeah.
Are we all basically
given
kind of people?
I mean,
there's one person that is bad.
Is one person freaking Jane from Serenity? In which case,
okay. Here's the thing. I think that space gypsies was just a really bad choice of words because it's just we're using a racist term.
Oh, phooey! It gives you the feeling.
You could have just said join a caravan of outcasts.
Yeah, it just gives you the feeling of what it is.
Anyway,
you can use the term as that.
This was the last one.
This was the last one.
This was the last one.
So we're done.
But we're all for civilization until we start airlocking people.
Oh my goodness!
Now, when you get to Venus, you might want to
listen. The airlock offers you the quick mercy of space. The other alternative is I stake you out on the ground and cover you in Tyrannosaurus bait. Okay. You will pray for the sweet, sweet mercy of vacuum at that point.
Okay. We will bring it to an end by everybody saying their favorite science fiction spaceship. Anyone?
I gotta go with a tie between the Millennium Falcon and the Serenity.
Yeah. And I have to be boring too in saying the Millennium Falcon. It is just a cool design ship.
Defiant.
Defiant's from the Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine.
It's a cool looking ship.
I
like the whole Starfleet design.
I'm actually not the hugest fan of that show, but there's
they
things
had
that
some
really
cool
like.
looking stuff.
The Defiant is just the coolest ship. It is so efficient. Like, it's a little ship, but it has every single weapon, technology that you would just want.
Well, they built it as a warship, so it doesn't do anything else. So
well, that's fine.
Yeah, which is.
Like,
I guess I like the anti-Defiant. I like the little Karak class.
I do like the science ships. I do like the science ships.
I do like the science ships too. I did actually like the Reliant. I like that alternate design of a Federation station.
It's a Federation ship. It's got all the little comforts of home, and you just kind of mosey around, exploring.
No, if we're doing the Star Trek universe, I'm going to go with the Borg sphere, because you essentially have to get through an entire Borg cube, and then you have the Borg equivalent of the middle finger just pop out.
And on the middle finger, I think we're done.
Okay.
If we're going to go Star Trek, my choice is definitely the Titan from the Expanded Universe.
Yeah.
Which is Riker's ship.
Yeah, that was a cool ship.
Yeah.
Because I read one trilogy that included the Titan on it. It was like a team-up one.
Yeah.
But
Titan's a really cool ship. So.
I do like the Reliant from it.
Yeah, that big silence was just all of our geek gears going into overdrive, going through every ship we could think of.
So,
which is how we end up with things like the
very bad show, but Space 1999 from the 70s had the Eagles were cool ships. That was a well-designed ship. It was just too bad they never had a.
It is 15 till.
Yeah, and we're running out of how much time I can record anyway. So
good night,
okay, good night, everybody.